Have you ever stopped to think about something as simple as picking up your cup of coffee? How does the thought, "I want some coffee," actually turn into the physical action of reaching out and grabbing it? We're going to trace that exact signal, right from the initial thought all the way down to the action.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to follow that command on its incredible journey. We'll start with that initial spark, then visit the brain's command center where the order is given. We'll travel down the neural superhighway it uses and see how it reaches the final pathway that gets your muscles moving. We'll even look at what happens when that signal gets broken and just how fast this whole system can really push it.
First things first, you got to understand that a voluntary movement isn't just a simple go signal. Oh no. It's this incredibly complex, high-speed message that travels through a very specific hierarchy. You can think of it like a chain of command where every single level has a critical job to do in making the action happen just right. So really, how does the brain pull this off? How do you go from thinking, "I need to type the letter T," to your finger hitting that exact key practically instantly? Well, the secret lies in this absolutely remarkable, high-fidelity neural pathway that connects your brain's cortex directly to your spinal cord.
All right, so the whole journey kicks off right here. It starts in this specific strip of brain tissue called the primary motor cortex, or M1 for short. This is ground zero. This is the CEO's office where the decision to actually do something gets translated into an initial motor command. So take a look at this diagram. It's pointing right to M1, which is basically mission control for your body's movements. This is the spot where that abstract idea, like "I want to move," gets turned into concrete instructions, like exactly how much force to use and in what direction.
But, M1 isn't just one thing. It actually has two parts with totally different jobs. You've got the old M1, which handles the big stuff, the basics, like your posture and just general broad movements. But then you have the new M1, and this is where the real magic for skilled action happens. It has a direct one-to-one hotline to the spinal cord. This allows the brain to completely bypass the old wiring to, sculpt brand new, super precise movements. Think playing a guitar chord or threading a needle. Okay, so M1 has issued the command. The order's been sent. Now what? How does that message get from the brain's headquarters all the way down to the street level of the spinal cord? Well, it takes the express route. And that express route is called the corticospinal tract, or CST. And listen, this isn't some back road. This is an information superhighway. We're talking a massive bundle of about 1 million axons, all dedicated to one thing, carrying these high-priority motor commands directly from the cortex to the spinal cord. It's all about rapid and precise communication. Let's trace the signal's journey on the map here. It starts in M1, right? Then it travels down through the brainstem, and then something pretty wild happens. It reaches a point called the pyramidal decussation, which is just a fancy term for a pyramid-shaped crossover point. And right there, most of the fibers switch sides. This is it. This is the reason the left side of your brain controls the right side of your body, and the right side of your brain controls the left. It all happens right here. Okay, the signal has made it to the right neighborhood. It's arrived in the spinal cord, but it's not done yet. It still needs to make that final critical connection to the muscle itself. This is the last and, you could argue, the most important step in the entire chain. The great neurophysiologist Charles Sherrington had the perfect way to describe this. He called motor neurons the final common pathway. And what he meant was that every single command, doesn't matter if it's a voluntary action coming down from your brain or an automatic reflex happening in your spine, it all has to converge on these spinal motor neurons. They are the final gatekeepers before any signal gets sent to a muscle. And these motor neurons, they're not solo artists, they're team players. Each one connects to a whole group of muscle fibers, and together they form what we call a motor unit. This little unit is the fundamental link that translates those electrical sparks from your brain into actual physical force that makes you move.
So you might be thinking, okay, that's a cool pathway, but why does this direct connection matter so much? Well, its importance becomes crystal clear when we look at what happens when it gets disrupted.
Yep. Remember that new M1 pathway we talked about a minute ago? The one with a direct hotline? Its whole reason for being is to give us that fine, independent control of our fingers and toes, the very thing that gives us our incredible dexterity.
And wow, this image really says it all. It's a powerful and honestly kind of sad look at what happens when that direct pathway is broken. On the left, you see a healthy monkey easily using a precision grip to pick up a small treat. But on the right, after that direct pathway has been damaged, that fine motor control is just gone. The monkey can only make a clumsy, whole-hand grab.
It's a really stark reminder of how much we depend on this neural superhighway for everything we do with our hands.
So, we've clearly established that this pathway is crucial for what we can do, for our dexterity. But what about how fast we can do it? It turns out the efficiency of this exact neural pathway is directly tied to real-world performance in things like sports and other high-skill tasks.
At the truly elite level, it's not just about doing the right thing, it's about doing it incredibly fast. And that all comes down to neural speed. Check this out. Some top-tier athletes have motor neurons that can fire over 160 times per second. Now, that's not just a cool trivia fact. It means they can generate force way more quickly than the average person, giving them a massive edge in their sport.
So let's just do a super quick recap of the entire command chain. It all starts in the primary motor cortex, or M1, which generates the specific order. That order then travels down the corticospinal tract, which is the high-speed delivery service. It arrives at the alpha motor neurons, who are like the on-site managers making the final call. And finally, the motor units are the workers who actually translate that electrical call into physical force and movement.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to chew on. Every single time we practice playing an instrument, learn a new sport, or master any physical skill, we are literally training this exact pathway. We're strengthening the connections from M1 all the way down. So the question for you is, if that's the case, just how much faster can you make your own command path?